what's going on, guys? Welcome to the Reliable HVACR live stream / podcast. You already know if you can't stay for the whole show, it airs right after we're off the air. It's on my YouTube channel, and you can also listen on the go anywhere you listen to your podcast. So I already see a lot of people in the chat. Maru, LED Handyman made it. Brian Sanders, Richie, Just Work. Got the Misfits in here. We got Steve, Ryan. I know I saw some other guys in here. We got everybody. So without further ado, I want to bring on the guest. I'm pretty excited to have him on. We got the inventor of the Jumper King, Robert Kraft. Welcome, man.
How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing good, thanks.
So a little late. We had some difficulties, but we're all good now.
Yeah, technical difficulties.
I love the little Jumper King right there. Showing
it
off.
A lot of people, including myself back in the day, would put the jumper wires, around their neck.
Oh, yeah.
So here we go.
Got the whole thing on there.
Exactly.
All right. For the, the viewers, the listeners that might not know who you are, if you just want to introduce yourself, talk about your experience in the field, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So my name is Robert Kraft. I been inventing stuff since I was a kid, really. Been in the HVAC industry for going on 33 years. Started in 1990. I didn't graduate high school. Didn't know where I was going to be or what I was going to do. So I was kind of lost. And then I got into the HVAC industry by accident. My stepdad, want me to start with my HVAC experience?
Yeah, I love hearing how like everybody gets into it and what kind of makes them go down that path. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so most all my friends, even my loser friends, graduated, and I was like, they're off doing their careers and stuff. And at that point, I realized, maybe I should have graduated. I was thinking at the time, and I'm like, well, what am I going to do? So my stepdad goes to the coffee shop, and his buddy did HVAC, and his buddy is looking for a helper, and he told my stepdad, hey, ask your son if he's interested in helping me out tomorrow. And so he came home and told me, and I'm like, well, what do I got to do? He goes, you got to meet him at the local restaurant at 5:30 in the morning. I'm used to waking up at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I could do that. So I met up with him, and the rest is history, really. I got into it on the commercial side first as a helper. This company had like 30 Chuck E. Cheese stores that they serviced. So I was changing filters and, stuff like that. And when my boss was downstairs, I think on like day one, I grabbed the gauges and hooked them up to this unit and didn't know what I was doing. And he, I'm curious, right? And he came up and yelled at me like, dude, you're going to put non-condensables in this unit. I'm like, what? What? I don't know what you're talking about. So anyways, did that for quite a while. And then I moved on to another company after about a year, Tricom Refrigeration out of Chino, California, and did some cold storage stuff. They actually put me through night college for 2 years. So I did night college 3 days a week. After work, got my certificate, learned the theory, and then I, worked at a few other different companies throughout the years, including Airtro out of Monrovia, California. Mm-hmm. And by then, I had about 10 years experience in the trade, doing residential, commercial, service, install, the whole 9 yards. And then I just really had this itch on starting my own business. I was making my company 30 to 50 grand a month. And I'm thinking, man, if I could have just a little piece of that pie, I'd be doing pretty good. So I started my own business, and that was 25 years ago. So
wow.
The HVAC industry, I get chills when I talk about it because it's provided me a great lifestyle. It's the reason why I met my wife. I met my wife on a company trip.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So, I mean, my life wouldn't even be where it's at if it wasn't for HVAC. So I owe my whole life and everything that's happened to the HVAC industry. And, pretty proud to be in this industry.
Yeah, and being in HVAC, it's a very labor intensive job, and it's a lot of work, hard work. Taking pride in work too. Um, and everybody goes through their struggles in the field. So, like, what kept you in the field, or what kept you in it? Because it sounded like you got into it kind of young, like you said, kind of by accident. Just being offered to go help somebody.
What I liked about it is that every day was different, and you could never master. You can't master HVAC. Just
Yeah.
can't, because there's so many aspects of it. There's commercial refrigeration, there's residential, there's hydronics, there's boilers. I mean, it's a never-ending industry, and I get bored really easy, and I didn't get bored with HVAC because there was always something new that I could do, And the days where I was up in the attic with insulation down my pants and sweating my what's off and uh, cuts all over my hands and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But making $3,000 in a day made up for it, right? You know, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
installing a whole system in a day, coming home just beat as hell. But the money, was like, okay, well, once I took a shower, I was ready for the next day. What the heck?
And
Um,
that's awesome. The whole, like you said, getting bored. That's me too. Like, getting bored uh with the same thing over and over. Like, that's what I always tell people is, even in my field, because I mostly do refrigeration commercial, and I really try to stick to like restaurants. That's kind of the work that we do. But even then, like, I see like ice cream machines, ice machines, different kinds of walk-ins, different kinds of reach-ins, and new stuff is coming out all the time. So it's good to hear that that we're all kind of the same. We love the challenge of all these service calls or installations that we get to do.
Absolutely. In fact, when I started out, HVAC was like, wow, you're an HVAC, you're making good money and all this stuff. And then I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, whatever it is, it started to turn into like, oh, you're a blue collar guy. Okay, well, I'm like this corporate guy and I make money, tons of
Oh
money.
yeah.
And then now it's kind of switching again because, uh, robots can't take our jobs, you know.
No.
Uh, Robots can't come and change a capacitor or clean out a drain line or add refrigerant. So people are realizing that you don't need a college education. Yeah, I went to college for the theory side and stuff like that, and I was top of my class, which made me feel better because after not graduating, I didn't feel that good about myself. I thought, am I a freaking dumbass, or excuse my language, but am I dumb or what? But I was top of my class, and was always like up towards the top of my companies because I really loved what I did and had a passion for it. So I realized soon that uh, you know this college wasn't for me, and that the you know just going out there and working hard and earning it, the sky's the limit. Um,
Of course, because like school's not for everybody, and I did well, well enough in high school. I tried to do college, and I wasn't super into it. Now I did switch to major in HVAC because they offered it at my college, but even then I couldn't wait to get out and stuff. So, like, school's not for everybody, and
no,
it shouldn't be frowned upon if you go and get a skilled trades job. It's a very good business to be in, and like you said, like, a lot of people, I mean, there's two sides of it. Some people just want to work at a company and get all the benefits and stuff like that, but like yourself and me and some other guys that I know, they all aspire at some point to own a company, and then have that you get to do whatever kind of work you want to do, for one. And then you can also either choose to make as much as you can, hustle out there, and be very profitable. It's a very good business to be in, money wise.
oh man,
Also,
geez, no,
I like my family time as well, so I get to take time off when I want to, and things like that. It's my choice, so that's what I like about it too.
absolutely. Same here. I've been able to pick up my kids from school, take them
Yeah.
to sporting events, and I've made some serious money. I've lost a lot of money and made a lot of money in the HVAC industry.
Oh yeah.
In California, I was in business for 10 years. In my 30s, I was making 700 grand a year. I had 5 employees. I had boats. I was flying helicopters for a hobby. I grew up poor. I grew up with a single parent. I grew up in the ghetto. I grew up in not hotels, but motels,
Oh
food
wow.
stamps, welfare, pretty rough childhood. So when I started making money in my 30s, I was living. It's like you never know if tomorrow's going to be here. So the HVAC industry has provided me so many cool opportunities and so many cool things to do in my life that it's crazy. But in 2008, I lost everything I had. I went from making 700 grand a year to about 200,000 in debt and about $1,800 in my bank account, like to my name. And that's when my son was a couple years old, and I was like, wow. And so then I moved to Colorado and started from scratch. And then about four years, I was up and kicking butt again, just because of this trade. You get what you put into it. So I went out there and busted ass and knocked on doors and passed out flyers and went to networking groups and did as much as I can. And I do a good job for people. I was never in it for the money, because I knew if I did a great job and used my skills and not not trying to rip people off or whatever, but use my skills, that the money will be there. And I've always looked at life
Of
like
course.
that. And that's always carried me through is just have a passion and do a good job for people, and the work will be there and the money will be there.
That's awesome, man. And I didn't know that about you either. Like your background and stuff. That's a good story there. It's coming from nothing and then coming up in the trade and being able to make something for yourself, for your family. Like, and that's what I always tell people. They always ask me, like, should I get into this trade? Or if they are in the trade, they've been doing it for a few years, 10 years, whatever. And they're
Yeah,
like, should I start a business? I'm like, well, there's a risk, right? You don't start at the top. You gotta, hustle and work at it. And you have to want it. Like you said, the flyer, going door to door, whatever it may be. We did that too. As a commercial business, going restaurant to restaurant, selling ourselves. We would have to come in at a competitive price to begin with, but we always made sure we did top notch work, and then that brings us more business in turn, and you go from there. You make it what you want.
exactly. And what I learned early on, just by trial and error, is that anyone can learn HVAC, anyone can learn plumbing, electrical, or whatever trade, but it's how you do it that makes you stand out. So I've always answered my phones. I've always called people back. I was there when I said I was going to be there. I did a good job, So I got a lot of referrals because, hey, call Robert. He'll take care of you, and that's what got me through is learning how to do it differently than just your average HVAC guy that goes out there and change the capacitor for $800 and leaves. I like to add value to my jobs and give the customer as many options as I can and educate them on what these options are and let them make the choice. And that's worked out really well for me.
Is there like a fan that turned on or something?
No. Oh, it might be my computer, is it? Let me turn my computer off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard like a fan come on right now.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, no problem. Let me see. Okay, there you go.
There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, you're right by the speaker there. But yeah, I mean, so as far as the Jumper King goes, I've invented a lot of stuff in my time. I've had ideas stolen from me, and you name it. And I've just had that kind of mind that when I'm dealing with something and there's an issue, how do I fix this? So in 2004, I came up, like, my gauges would always fall off the units with that cheap hook that they have on there. That's not even it's like a half of a hook.
Yeah.
falls off and your gauges get uncalibrated and all that stuff. So I bought a dog collar. I put a magnet on it and I hooked it up to my gauges, and I was just stuck my gauges to these units. Well, now you see everything with that strap on there, including voltmeters and stuff like that. I didn't
Oh
know
yeah.
I didn't know what to do with these ideas. And Josh Cooley, the umbrella guy, I thought about the umbrella. I called it the Sunbrella, and I had all these attachments for it and stuff like that. But I felt a lot better because after talking to him, he invented it quite a few years before I did, but it didn't get on the market till I don't know, 2014 or whatever it was. So I felt better that I didn't lose out on that one really, but I didn't really get bummed out that these ideas are out there really being successful, that I missed out on. The way I looked at it is that I got good ideas because they're
Yeah,
obviously
it kind of opened your eyes to it, right?
right. So, even though to back up a little bit, I invented a air filtration system for a vehicle because in California there was a lot of wildfires, and even if I had my car on recycle, I'd still smell the smoke and stuff. So I
Oh
invented
yeah.
this filtration system with a carbon filter and a bunch of pleats and pre-filters and stuff like that that would remove all that stuff. And I took it to one of those invention companies that you see on TV, sent us your invention, and
Hmm.
spent a year of my time and $12,000, and they ended up ripping me off on that one.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and then after that is when I came up with the strap idea, and I thought I was the first guy to come up with the umbrella idea,
Hmm.
uh, but Josh is the man when it comes to that. He did a great job on that, but um, so I didn't know what to do. I was gun shy. I was as far as inventing, and I kind of just shut down my creative side of my brain for a while, and I tried to anyways, but it was hard to because I always come up with ideas whether I like it or not. And so years go by, and so this is about 6 years ago. I'm up on a rooftop in Colorado, and I come up to this train unit. It didn't, and a lot of people go, well, just use the test terminals. Well, not all trains have the test
Yeah.
terminals. This one didn't have wire connections. And I was pretty good at just grabbing your cheap little jumper wires, like these little uh, pieces of, in my opinion. But they did their job at the time. And I would just, remove the wire nut and then bam, turn on the compressor and go. But I actually, it hit it twice real fast, and it short cycled the compressor, and it actually ruined it. And I don't, it might have
Oh.
been going bad already. But this particular account that I was on was an all-inclusive account. So I was in charge of paying for all the repairs, but
Oh
they gave me
dang.
a decent monthly income to cover all that, but not a compressor. Uh,
Yeah.
so that cost me $2,000, all said and done with refrigerant and stuff. And as soon as I short circuited the compressor and blew that up, I'm like, okay, there's got to be a better way to start these units. And so I searched online right there on the roof, for tools that I can uh, turn it on when I'm ready instead of using these jumper wires, when it's live and stuff. And I found one tool out there. A lot of people, mention it. It starts with a Z. I'm not going to name the name because they're them and I'm me. And
Hmm.
I'm not a believer in putting anything down, but it didn't fit my needs. I didn't really care for it. I didn't care about the pricing of it. I didn't care about, and I said, well, looks like I got to make my own tool. So I went to Home Depot after ruining that compressor. I got a
Hmm.
2x4 gang box, plastic one. I got a little popper fuse, and I built the first Jumper King prototype, and it only had one switch. And then I went the next day. I bought leads and alligator clamps and all that. And the next day, I went to one of my rooftop units, and I hooked it up with everything live, and I turned on the
Hmm.
switch, and fan comes on, first stage, second stage, and I'm like, here we go. This is what I want.
Yeah.
And that's where the Jumper King was born. Excuse me. And then I was using that for a while. I'm like, at this time I had 20 something years in the trade. And so I thought it was cool. And, I hear all these comments like these guys, like, oh, this is for beginners, or, it's just the comments I hear out there. Honestly, the bad comments that I hear, to me, it's
Hmm.
frustrating because I think it's out of lack of knowledge of what the tool does. And
Hmm.
it's out of lack of knowledge of what kind of experience is behind the tool. You don't have to be, you could be a 30-year plus veteran, or you can be right out of school, and the tool is equally valuable. So anyways, I built that prototype and I thought, this is pretty cool. I like this. I was starting units with it. And then I actually called Supco because I went to a barbecue at my local train supply, and that's before Trade Fox was a thing. And
Oh, okay.
they had some Supco products, the umbrella and a couple other things. And I was talking to the guy. I said, "What's going on with this stuff?" And they're like, "Oh, this is inventor products." I'm like, "Wow! I mean, I have a cool product that I made, and can I submit it to you guys?" He said, "Yeah." So I called Jim Adcox. He's the executive vice president for Supco. Super nice guy, very knowledgeable, and he actually turned it down because Supco was going through. I think they were buying some companies or doing something, and it just wasn't the right timing. I said,
Hmm.
"Okay, thanks, sir. Thank you for your time." And I didn't know. Well, did I explain myself what it was? And I was kind of doubting myself. And is this product even good? And then about a year later, I see Trade Fox stuff at these supply house, barbecue things, and I'm like, okay, what is this? And so then I resubmitted it to Subco, and then they that's when they took it on, and we started building prototypes. And the first prototype that they made me was a 3D printed model, and it's this guy right here.
Oh, okay.
Inline fuse. It has no colored leads, and it has numbers instead of your green, red, yellow, and all that. And
Hmm.
so I used this in the field for I don't know, a couple months, and I thought, one switch doesn't really work, and the number system doesn't really work for me. So that's where the whole process starts. Is you got to get a prototype, try it out, figure out what the problems are. We got the two magnets on the back, but no hook. You
Oh,
know,
okay. Yeah.
so I'm thinking, okay, well, I need a hook. Sometimes a hook is nice, and then I need a number system, and I need more switches. So then I came up with all the switches.
Okay.
This is another prototype, and this one has the fold-out hook on the back,
Hmm.
right here. But at first they made the hook without it being coated with rubber, and I thought, well, that could be, if you hit something wrong with that, that could be no good.
Of
So,
course. Yeah.
anyways, we talked about that. So it took I don't know, a year or so to try all these prototypes out and see, what needs to be improved on them and what it needs. And so like this one has the colors. I'm starting to incorporate the colors. This one doesn't have a face plate.
Hmm.
So I started using that. And then what I realized is that every unit I come across has different terminal types.
Yes.
Some are magnetic, which are great and work great, and some the alligator clips work great. But there was also a few that, like the wire nut connections, where it's like, well, this is a problem too. So throughout time, I was able to develop the interchangeable tips and the
And
banana.
that's a game changer because like I went and bought the ones that they sell, the magnetic ones that Subco sells,
Yep,
and then I couldn't use them like on like 80% of the units I worked on. So then it was like I can't even use these things. So the tips are the one of the best things about that Jumper King. And I know
absolutely.
a lot of people give you praise for the piercing tips.
Yes, in fact, me and a gentleman over at Supco designed these, and I designed the length. But the huge thing that I did, because there's piercing tips on the market. Here's one that I was working on using on my prototypes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that I bought off the line, but I don't know if you could see, but the top, it just has like a V, and this one's almost
Yeah.
broken. A lot of them would break, real brittle plastic. And so the wire would roll out of the way when I tried to pierce it. And,
Oh, okay.
and I'm like, well, that's a problem. So then that's when I came up with this notch. I don't know if you can see that here, let me unscrew this. That little tiny notch on there is a huge deal because it holds the wire right where it
Mm-hmm.
needs to go, and then you pierce it, and it pierces right in the middle. And a lot of guys, like I said, uneducated guys that don't even have the tool most of the time say, well, what about, piercing making holes in it and all that stuff? And like, there's a lot of bare copper on these wires that are, no one even complains about. And then they complain about this little hole. So here's an example of a pressure, a economizer plug
Mm-hmm.
that I've pierced twice, and you can't even see the holes. They've actually kind of healed up, to be honest
Yeah,
with
that's
you.
right.
And I remember mentioning that they self heal, especially in warm weather.
Yeah.
It'll and self heal, and people are laughing at me. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. Uh, all I can do is tell you. So the holes are so minimal, it's not even an issue. Now you don't want this sitting in water or resting
Yeah.
up against metal, really, even though it's still protected, but
Yeah, you don't want them like touching each other or touching anything bare. And then if you have water in that area, the panel's off or something like that, that's a whole other issue. That's not the pierce itself.
yeah, and there's a lot of other bare copper and bare stuff in there that's more concerning than that little tiny hole.
Or even the connectors are they're metal too. So like
Exactly,
wire connectors.
exactly. So yeah, I'm really proud of this tip. I actually have 2 design patents on this.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
and I have about 25,000 bucks for the patents on the Jumper King. And it wasn't easy to afford that. It took me a long time to do all that, years of waiting, and I think I have over 5,000 words that I wrote out myself um, about what it could do to cover. So I have really strong patents on this. And as far as patents go, you don't have to patent everything.
Mm-hmm.
Game changer stuff that you think might be a game changer or really unique or different, probably a good idea. But most of something that's real important is first to market. You know,
Yeah.
that's a big deal. So it just depends. All inventions don't need a patent, um, but patent pending is that helps out because it kind of detours these snakes out there that are going to try to copy you or whatever. But it happens either way. But at least I have some legal IP that I can protect, and I have one of the best patent lawyers in America, which is a blessing. And he does a great job. So if anyone out there that needs a patent lawyer, trademarks, patent stuff, I'd be happy to give him his contact information.
Yeah, that's what I was telling guys when I announced, the show for today. I was like, if you guys well, for one, I always tell people because it's come to my attention, that maybe they have an idea or they're like, oh, I thought of that like 10 years ago or something like that. Well, get it out there or get your prototype out there. Now you can talk to Subco, Trade Fox, and there's other companies that you can talk to. And like yourself, you went about it, getting the patent, getting a lawyer that helps you with all that stuff. Like there's things you can do because if you don't do it, you're just going to be complaining that you thought of it first when you did nothing about it. So that's what I was trying to tell people too. If they have any questions, I'll look through the chat right now. But if they have any questions, they can reach out to one of us. I'll point them to you. I'm sure you're all for that. Like you said, you can give out that lawyer information if they need it or maybe any tips or tricks uh, to get something going. Like for the Jumper King, how long from like your prototype to getting it out on market? How long was that?
6 years.
6 years. That's a pretty good time from
Well,
start to finish.
it is, and it usually doesn't take that long. The average time is anywhere from a year to 2 years.
Oh, okay.
We had some delays. Well, that's from when I first uh, thought of it and brought it to Supco, and then they turned it down. Then I resubmitted it a year later. So that's a year there. And then,
Sure.
the whole COVID thing and,
Oh yeah.
uh, you know, shipping stuff. And, the prototypes took a while because I wanted to make sure that I covered as many angles as I could before we got it on the market. And so I had to go try it out in the field for a few months, see how it does. So like you mentioned on the case, excuse me, the case, we didn't, I helped design the case, and have these flip dividers and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
we didn't really, the case had to be quick because we were getting ready to launch the tool, and we needed to have a case. In fact, let me show you what I used to use. This is my first case for the Jumper King.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
One that you buy at the store. I kept all my tips in here, and yeah, it worked okay, but it wasn't the greatest. So one thing that we do, what I like about Supco is we hear about all the feedback. We want to hear the feedback because we're going to be fixing how these get held in the case, because they're hard to get in there and they fall out easy. These tips aren't so bad. The magnet tips aren't so bad. So we're really working on that. We're working on the magnets on the back, and a lot of that stuff you don't really know until
it gets out there. Yeah.
Until we hear feedback, right? So the feedback on it is important, so we can make adjustments, and we're listening to this feedback, and we're making adjustments accordingly. So yeah, I mean,
well, that's awesome, because like I said, I've told people, I'm like, they're listening, and that's a good thing that you reiterated, that you guys are taking the feedback, good or bad, because I know you touched on it. There's going to be people that, and it's one of those products, and this goes for a lot of things, like either they love it or they want to hate on it or something. And to me, I always tell people it's about convenience. It's about, everybody has tools that make their life easier or are more practical than what they're doing. So this is not like, I wouldn't say like everybody has to go get it. I there's texts on like Instagram and guys that I talk to on YouTube that are like, I love this thing. It's a must have. They use it a lot on their maintenance, and just what I like about it is when I have a low voltage short, to be able to have that resettable fuse and go from there, and then being able to kind of go one by one as I'm checking each stage or a blower motor or whatever it may be that you hooked up to. So like there's a use for it, but like I know there's like a good and bad on the feedback.
Yeah, you know what? And the bad, I try not to let it bother me, but it does.
Yeah.
I created this tool to help out the HVAC industry, to help these guys out that are hating on it, and then them to throw it in my face like, piece of shit, this and that, when they don't even own one. They don't even know all what it does. And it's like, if you own one and you used it and you used every aspect of it, and then you said, hey, it's not for me, then that's fine. I don't, it doesn't bother me. I mean, and you don't have to buy the tool if you don't like it. I mean, I don't, that's, every technician is a little bit different on tools that they do. But when they can't compare, oh, I can use a thermostat wire to jump something out. Like the Jumper King does way more than that. In fact, I have some stuff here for that feedback. Like, if you just want a jumper wire, you can make whatever tip, your own custom jumper wire, and you don't even have to use the box. You can start single stage heat or bypass a switch or whatever with whatever, put whatever tip on there, and you make a jumper wire. So you don't need the whole kit and all these wires every time you do a service call. But
yeah, that was cool that I didn't even think about that, because you told me about that, and I'm like, oh wow, like I can use all the tips and then just have my own custom little jumpers if I need to jump out one thing or whatever. So
yeah, and they're
it's
silicone, they're like this jumper wire here. One thing I don't like about this is when they get cold, I mean, I can't even open this up right here. Seriously, it's like it's so you've had it happen to your jumper wires where they just get all messed up, or the connection comes apart there, and you're trying to jump something out, and then you end up on a big old rabbit chase, chasing something, and it's actually a faulty jumper wire. But what I like, that's why, like, let me get to the side that I can open up. Like, I open up this, and I can eat this thing for lunch with mine.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like they're like, oh, they're just alligator jumpers. I'm like, well, they're a lot nicer because a lot of the ones that I had, I had a lot of those little ones.
Yeah.
Sometimes I couldn't keep them on the screw or whatever I was trying to jump out.
Right.
They would just slip off, or they wouldn't open enough, or stuff like that. So the quality of the tips is also nice. Those alligator clips you got there, they're actually a lot nicer.
Yeah, and me being in the trade for all my life, this stuff is what I focus on. I want my, like, all the stuff with your regular jumper wire. I had to fix. Like, this thing gets all stiff and mangled, and
Yeah.
it's all messed up. Now the jumper wire, this one's nice and silicone. And I did this on purpose. I mashed it all up, but the cool thing about this jumper wire is I can grab it, and I can, not at the tip, but at the wire, and I can just pull kind of firmly on it, right? And let me get this out of there real quick. Of course, on camera. So, anyways, I pull it like this.
Yeah.
And now it's a nice jumper wire.
Yeah, because I throw everything in the bag and I just scrunch it up, and then like the little ones, they get all messed up.
I do the same thing, and that's why I wanted silicone wires. I wanted them little beefy, and stuff like that. And a lot of people don't know, like I showed you, is they wonder why this hole's here. This hole is, you could test with your voltmeter, continuity, or voltage, with whatever you're testing, but you could also interlock them, and do a piggyback that way, and
Oh
have
yeah, that's cool too.
two-stage heat real quick, and so when people compare this to a thermostat jumper wire and stuff like that, it's really like comparing oranges to grapes. I'm not saying this is like, this thing is just the best thing in the world, and I'm like the jumper king guy. It's not about that. It's about, know what you're talking about before you say bad comments, because a lot of it's out of not knowing what the product offers.
It's like that with everything. Like there's always an upgrade, or a better way to do things. The thing that comes to mind right now is everybody has an impact drill, or whatever. You could just go with a screwdriver. It's gonna take you a lot longer, or this and that, but the drill's a better way. When the Jumper King is a little more efficient, it's quicker, it's built really well, versus just doing it your old way. But there's always better ways to do things, always an upgrade. So that's what I always tell people. I'm like, yeah, you can use your jumpers if you want, but if if you're doing a lot of jumping out, a lot of maintenance, because that's what I take it with me on my maintenance stuff.
Yeah.
And I have a couple of locations that, like, it's a pain in the ass to get up on the roof. I have to go through several floors. There's strip malls, so like the access is not always like right by my customer and stuff like that. I'm never going to see the thermostat, after I get there. Like, I go to the roof and that's it. I'm not going to be going up and down to either pull the thermostat, or switch the modes, or whatever it is on that. So if you take the Jumper King with you, it's like having a thermostat in your pocket, and you
Exactly.
can
And like,
control it.
What's cool about the Jumper King is, if you need to energize two-stage with a reversing valve and bypass a switch, all of it's there to do that. If you need to just do a quick jumper wire, it's there to do that. So it's as much as you want to use it. Everything's there that you need. And if you just need just a simple jumper wire, it has that as well.
Yeah, like the piercing tips. I've seen a lot of people jump out the pressure controls, because a lot of times you can't jump those out easily or with regular jumpers. So,
Right.
being able to test, your pressure controls and all that, that's another, plus in my book.
Well, yeah, exactly. And another thing that's cool about these tips is like this Molex connector here. You can
Yeah.
actually pierce inside there and test voltage or
Oh, okay.
bypass it that way. You just take off take the tip apart and just shove it in there and test voltage that way or bypass it or whatever you want to do. So
That's another neat way to use it. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so there's so many ways to use it. So to compare it to a thermostat jumper wire or your standard jumper wires, it's just not fair because it does so much more than that a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah.
And I'm doing my best. I know a lot of people out there are doing their best to show everything that it does. Adam Nasser, Wolf of HVAC,
Yeah.
and World of HVAC too. A lot of, I mean, all these guys, so many people support this product, support me that understand what it does. I mean, it's unbelievable. I've never paid one person to do anything or asked them to do anything. This is all on their own. And for me to make a difference in the HVAC industry and create a tool that helps people out there in the field, there's no feeling like it. It money, any of that stuff. There's no feeling like something that you created is helping out this industry that's been so good to me. That's what gets me going. I just love it.
Yeah. And, like when I got it, I actually, when I first saw it, I was like, this is really cool. And I was thinking of, what I could use it for, but also just like the build quality, the thought that went into it, every little detail. I got kind of excited for it, and I reached out to you and I'm like, this is a really cool product. It's, I don't know, it really impressed me, and it's been a good, uh, you know, invention on your part. Now,
I didn't know it
uh,
was going to be like this, though. That's one thing that you never know on an invention is how the market's going to react, and that's why they keep selling out. And I know Supco is working their butt off to try to ramp up production and stuff like that and get it back back on the market and stuff, back in stock. There's no way to know. Like if Supco was to order 20,000 of these and it was a dud, then they're stuck with all that inventory and all that wasted money. Now, so it's a balancing act that you just can't predict. And so now that they know that it's a pretty good seller, and that people like it, they're making adjustments to fit the needs of the demand.
yeah, that was going to be my other question is like, the reception that you've gotten for it, like how has that been? Because, uh, like you said, Adam, all these guys, I've talked to a lot of guys that say that it's like a must have
Yeah.
tool, and they're really thankful for it. And I did point out, like in one of my stories, that it's like a very popular item, even on True Tech Tools where I shop.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people like today too were messaging me like, where can I find this product? It's flying off the shelf. I don't know how many, I don't know how they deal with the whole stock thing, but like they're having a hard time keeping up.
Exactly. And the shipping stuff and all the manufacturing stuff is still not where it was 5 years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's getting better, obviously, but I know they're working really hard on getting it in stock. When this product came into Johnstone Supply, that was a milestone for me because to get a product in Johnstone isn't easy,
Yeah.
and to get the part number and all that stuff. And I remember calling my local Johnstone and said, "Hey, do you have this in stock?" And he goes, "Yeah, well, I see that we're getting some. And what is this?" I'm like, "Well, it's something I invented." And he's like, "I see the part number for it, but we don't have any in stock yet." And this is early on. And I was just like, I had a hard time sleeping that night because I was so excited that my tool finally is making it to Johnstone. And and other supply houses too. I mean, it's in a lot of different supply houses. And I just want to say, if any of these people that work at these different supply houses that carry this, I want to say thank you. It means a lot to me. I just want to make a difference in the HVAC industry and give back, because the HVAC industry has given me a lot. Um, so if I can give back in any way, that's important to me. I wanted to show you something else that this does too that a lot of people don't realize. So I got a Supco Redfish meter here, and most meters are 4 millimeter banana connectors. So if you're checking voltage, and say you can't get to a certain spot, and you want to on your regular test leads, well, the Jumper King plugs right into it.
Oh, no way.
Yep. And so you can now test voltage with these piercing wires. Just pierce whatever wire you're trying to test, and positive and negative, and or ground or common or whatever you want to do. And then you can test your voltage that way. And of course you can put whatever tips you want, of course, and test voltage that way. So that's another thing that it does that a lot of people don't know, is it hooks up to your voltmeter. Now, of course, low voltage only, guys. Don't be 220 with this thing.
Yeah, because I had actually thought about that. I'm like, I wonder if I can use the tips with my meter somehow. I just hadn't like attempted or anything. So that's another cool feature on it.
It is, yeah. In fact, the Jumper King ended up doing a lot more than I originally designed it to do. And a few technicians out there, HVAC Grammon, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, Grammon.
Grammarian.
Grammarian, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was energizing, bypassing the circuit board, energizing the gas valve, having some issues, and determined that the circuit board, I think, wasn't sending voltage. So that was pretty cool to see. A lot of these guys are coming up with different, different ways to use it. Rich, can't think of his Rich something. He's I don't know him that well. He's been a great supporter of the Jumper King. He's done a lot of videos that I've shared.
Yeah, I think I've seen him too. I've been following, and they'll usually message me or tag me, or I'll see it on your feed or whatever.
Yeah, he's done a great job at being creative with it and doing some other stuff with it as well. And want to say thanks to him, and just thanks to everybody for all the support. I'm glad it's helping out the HVAC industry. And if anyone has any questions on how it works or anything like that, or patents or anything, I'm always happy to reach out, and help out, because I'm just a humble guy that wanted to make the HVAC industry better and create a tool to do some cool stuff.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Yeah, if you guys are on Instagram, Jumper King Official, that's how you can find Robert. Go ahead, tag him in the whatever you're using the Jumper King for. Message him for any questions you have on it. I don't know if he can help you get one right now, but any other questions, he'll help you out.
Yeah, I can't. Like a lot of people ask me, where do I get it? And it's like, I'm not in charge of the distribution, so I'd reach out to Supco for all that.
They're working on it. They're working on it.
Yeah, they are. Or you could ask your local supply house to search around, things like that. But I got like 5 other products in the works of all different, sheet metal tools, all kinds of weird stuff.
Oh, that was going to be another question I had. I was like, how many projects do you have going on? So you have, like, you said 5?
I have 5 other inventions that I'm working on right now.
That's awesome.
Yep. And then I wanted to point out, a lot of people make their necklaces. You can make a custom necklace with interchangeable tips with the Jumper King.
color code to your uniform, whatever you need to.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was a comment, I lost it, but it's like, oh, Flavor Flav vibes.
That's right. Oh yeah, with my Jumper King, I was doing that just to screw around. Yeah.
I was gonna put it on. I don't know where it is. I got lost in the chat. There's a bunch of guys in here.
Yeah, let's answer some questions and see what people are saying.
Well, I wanted to ask you real quick. How did you get into inventing in the first place? Was it just like you bringing ideas to? Was this your first one that you brought to somebody as a, like, hey, I want to bring this to produce,
No.
or?
No, I mean, I've been inventing stuff since I was a little kid. Like, my little Matchbox cars, the wheels would all, they were all like loose on there, and find a way to make them tighter. And I've always had that brain. So, like I said, in 2004, I got ripped off on that one idea.
Oh,
Um,
that's right.
but I did get something to the market um, in what 2014. I designed a license plate frame out of all things. It's called Diesel Power, and it has the diesel stacks coming up the frame. And I designed that or licensed that to a company that has 80% of the license plate frame market. So that got into all the auto zones and
Oh, wow.
stores, and that was pretty cool. But that's before I kind of, that's when I was starting to like learn what licensing was all about, because I thought you had to have millions of dollars and 500 patents and all this stuff to get a product on the market, and licensing is the way to go. So I ended up taking a course probably in 2015 or so from InventRight,
Hmm.
and you'll find them on YouTube and stuff. Stephen Key is the founder, and Andrew Krause is the other founder. And these guys are legit. I took a year course. They teach you what to say, how to do a provisional patent, how to do, it's called a sell sheet. So it's like a color designed feature sheet that shows what the jumper, what the tool is, what it could do, and you submit that to companies to try to get a licensing deal. I went on Fiverr and did some videos, but they really taught me a lot. So if you really have an inventing mind and want to license products, I recommend looking up InventRight and taking their course. It was a year-long course. I got a coach. So
Hmm.
when I had a question about something, I would reach out to my coach, and he would tell me. So, I mean, someday I hope to invent things for a living, because I have a true passion for inventing things, and the feeling that you get when it's on the market and people, it's helping people out there. You can't explain it. It's like, it's the coolest thing in the world to see your product being used out there and helping people out. It's unbelievable.
Oh, I bet, man. And I know a lot of people say that it's helped them out quite a bit. So that's good stuff. And that was another question I had for you was the whole what'd you say was invent right?
Invent right. Yep.
So you took a year course, they kind of showed you the whole like what it takes, I guess, the process and all that.
Everything from A to Z about licensing products they can help you out with. And it's not that much money. I mean, I think it was like 1,800 bucks or 2 grand for a year.
Oh,
And
okay.
coach, I mean, you got to be serious about it. It's an
Yeah.
investment. But for what the stuff they taught me was priceless and valuable. I mean, now I could reach out to companies. I know what to say. I know what they're looking for, and so, I mean, I have inventions from anything from a garlic press to a kid's toothbrush, you know. So it's not just HVAC stuff. I like creating stuff that solves problems. And
Yeah, so you're always doing this. You're always coming up with stuff.
yes, yes, and I enjoy it. It's something that I have a passion for, and I it's not even like working. I love creating stuff and pushing my mind to the limits.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I was kind of curious about that too because like I said, I've talked to people and I guess, from talking to you, I tell them, there's a whole process that goes through it. And uh, like you had the prototype or you had, something you built out to test. Then you kind of went from there and you took your course, you had a whole process. It
Yep.
wasn't just it wasn't just like, hey, I have this idea, it's already on the market or let's get it, you know, on the shelf tomorrow. There's a process that goes through it.
Oh, it's a
And
huge process, and it takes. And I'm not a patient guy,
yeah,
and excuse me. It took a lot longer than it should have than planned, but um, you know, it was all worth it. And it is what it is. It's a long process, but you have to have a passion for it. If you're doing it for the money, you're gonna get bored and it's not going to work out. You got to really have a passion for creating something that's helping, help it fixing an issue basically. And I do want to give a shout out to the TradeFox people because they're like family to me at this point. I talk to them on a regular basis. Josh Cooley, when I first presented this idea to Jim Adcox before they had TradeFox, he did a lot of work on it and got a lot of things done and brought it, really far. And then once TradeFox kicked in and Subco started creating the TradeFox program, Josh Cooley and Melissa, the marketing director and all that, I started working with them, and then they helped fine tune the tool. And also these little spade connectors that come with the Jumper King, that you can stick in, they can use once in a while in a fuse thing or wherever you want to use it, pressure switch or whatever. Josh Cooley came up with that idea. So
oh, really?
want to make sure he gets credit for that. But yeah, I mean, these guys are like family to me, and it's all about relationships. And, I'm just glad to work with the TradeFox people. They really treat me good.
Well, yeah, you're going through all my questions because I was wondering about TradeFox, the whole relationship, how they treat you and all that, and that's kind of cool that they help you make your product better. Like they have guys over there that like Josh that know what they're doing or been through it before, and then they have their ideas that go in with your ideas and just makes a better product.
Yeah, Josh has over 20 years experience in the HVAC industry. He's owned his own company, so he knows what's going on. Which really helps because me and him, when we talk, we see eye to eye, and he puts in input and I put in input. But yeah, so between him and the engineers at Subco and the marketing director, Melissa and Jim Adcox and all these people, it took a whole team to get where I'm at with the Jumper King. And hopefully there's more good stuff to come. And I hope that, I know they get a lot of submissions. So whoever's submitting stuff to them, just have patience and, and follow your passion. And, these people won't steal your idea. They're legit.
Yeah, I was gonna be like me. I tried submitting something, but like after talking to you, I realized that I just submitting an idea is not as it's you have to be prepared. Sketches help or prototypes help. I just kind of messed around with it, got denied, but I'll try it again or now that I know more about the whole process, like talking with you, kind of learning more about it here on the show. So cool to
Yeah.
see the insights of it.
Well, they've denied 2 ideas of mine as well.
Yeah.
So it's either fits or it doesn't. And like I have a graphic designer in California that I use. This nice gal, Cindy. I'll give her a sketch, and then she'll turn it into this beautiful PDF, um, design that looks real. It has all the benefits. So, if anyone wants to reach out to me, I don't know. She just kind of does it on the side. She's a graphic designer by trade,
Yeah.
but she's really cool to work with. And so, yeah, if you want to submit an idea legitimately, reach out to me. I'll kind of tell you the process that you have to do to let companies know you're serious. If you just give them a napkin drawing, I mean, they might take it, but if you give them, like I actually was able to embed a YouTube link into my PDF so they can actually, so they can look at what the Jumper King looked like and all the benefits and stuff. And then they can click on this YouTube link that bring them to a YouTube video that I created, with a prototype. And that I had it on private on YouTube so no one else can see it but them, but whoever I gave a link to. And so, you can do all that stuff too. And when you submit things like that to companies, I'm not saying that if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit, but it makes it makes it more legitimate.
It's like with anything, you gotta be a professional or make a good first impression, stuff like that. So after talking to you, I kind of got that impression. And I forgot that you mentioned you had you get it all professionally drawn out and nice presentation. It helps.
It does help. Well, you only got a few seconds to get their attention and to let them
Yeah.
know what it does. And what InventRight taught me is it's a one-line benefit statement. And my one
Okay.
benefit statement on the Jumper King was bypass any thermostat in seconds. So that was my one-line benefit statement. And then I had benefits underneath that. Bypass switches, find low voltage shorts, things like that. But the main benefit is bypass. Oh, it was bypass any thermostat with a flick of a switch.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've created that, but so that's what it was, and it kind of catches their attention, like the flick of a switch. What is he talking about here? So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Let me get through the chat real quick before we get off. But Brian Sanders here was asking what voltage it works with. So I know it's 24 volts, but it can work with anything under, right? So it's up to 24 volts.
Yeah, 30 volts VAC is what it's designed to use. Basically, if anything that draws less than 3 amps, it'll use. That guy Rich actually used it on a PTAC unit, on something that was, well, the compressor drew 3.5 amps RLA. Of course, start amps are a little bit higher, but he used actually just a jumper wire,
Mm-hmm.
without the Jumper King to bypass that real quick. So, I mean, you can take your chances. These are 18 gauge wire. So, whatever that'll take. I wouldn't mess with high voltage with it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Recommend it. But in certain situations, if the amp draw is really low and you know what you're doing, use it at your own risk. But
Well, they were asking for 12 to 14 volt. I think they're talking about like kitchen equipment. So they're seeing it for other uses other than like an AC equipment.
yeah, anything that's below 3 amps or below, 30 VAC or below,
Mm-hmm.
it'll work good for.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people are like, "Oh, it's just for thermostats." No, it has other uses, and as like you said, as long as you stay under those 30 volts,
Yep.
you're good to go.
So many different uses on it. Even those test pins on the train units, I'll hook up one to red, one to green, or whatever, and then just toggle my switches and take it through the test programs that way, which is kind of cool. But another thing that I wanted to also mention that I thought about it. This is all color coded, right? So you can use it for a green fan, yellow cooling, stage 2 cooling, heat, single stage heat, and second stage heat. But
Mm-hmm.
just like jumper wire, when you use a jumper wire, I know that you never really cared what color came out of the bag. You got to
Yeah.
know what goes to what, right? So that's why they're color coded. It's cool for beginners in the trade because they can use the color coding system, because that's pretty standard in the HVAC industry of what these colors are. But it doesn't matter. I mean, you could put green to cooling as long as you know that green goes to cooling.
Yeah.
And so the color coding system isn't like, you don't have to, it just kind of lets you know what is going where, and to keep track of what's going where. Or you can use it for standard color coding as well. But so I just wanted to get that out of the way, because a lot of people go, well, you know, like, am I dumb? Do I need to know that yellow is, it's like, well, no, it's
It's
why,
just there because that's a standard. Yeah.
I had to label it something, because
Yeah.
if it was all black, you get mixed, on a 2-stage heat pump system, you like, wait, what wire, what switch it goes to where? So
Yeah, and it's helpful. Like it's a good tool for a lot of new guys too. I told people like that's a pretty neat tool to have when you're starting out as well, because and for them, being color coded would help a lot.
but yeah, I
But
mean,
like
you
there's
put
been
on
plenty of
accident.
times where I wish I had something like that.
Exactly. And if you touch something on accident, it won't blow up the transformer. I've blown up many transformers with these jumper wires, when it falls off and hits metal. And that's why this fuse really helps out, because they, it really can't damage the system with
Or
it.
yeah, or you have that pile of pop fuses there that you went through, or
Yeah, yeah, no more of that stuff.
we actually got Adam in the chat, Wolf of HVAC. He's
Oh,
in here.
nice, nice. The king of the Jumper King videos, the non-peasant. I love it.
Oh, I know. He's always on. Well, I started following him on because he's from TikTok. Like that's where he has a big following over there.
Oh, okay.
And I always loved his videos and stuff. So then I started, following him, and then he's been posting on Instagram as well. Great guy. I got to meet him over in AHR, and super funny videos. I love watching that stuff.
He is a great guy. He has a great story. I'm very proud of that guy. Very proud, because he came here. His story is insane, and
Oh yeah,
the videos he does, for not knowing English till I think 2017 or something like that. Man, what an awesome guy. I
yeah.
mean,
I had him on. He was one of the first guys I had on my show here, and yeah, it was awesome listening to his story and all that. Coming over here to this country, getting into HVAC the way he did, and then just like he's excelling in it a lot,
he's
and
killing.
he's doing great things too.
He is. He's killing it. He's doing great things. I'm real proud of that guy, and I think that's how it should be. You got to be, instead of hating on people. I've never been a hater. I'm always proud of people that are doing out there trying to do good, something good, and trying hard. I don't look down on anybody for going out there to try, or that are trying, and that's why I don't get along with, like, I don't do well with the hate comments, because it's like they don't know who I am. They don't know where I came from. They don't know what I've been through to get this tool on the market. They don't know everything about the tool. So that it kind of bothers me. But on the other end of it, there's so much positive stuff out there, way more positive, way
Yeah.
more positive than negative, that outshines it. And I just kind of like, oh well, whatever.
No, it's awesome. I'm super happy to see that it's met with such a positive reception for the most part. So I love seeing all the guys post about it.
Yeah, me too. I think it's cool. I'm very thankful.
And here Sam Andrew says electrons don't care about color. That's right. Because that brings me to like when I was in college, doing the whole HVAC course, we had a class for like electricity, and they had us wiring up different things on a I guess it was a trainer board type of thing, and we had to wire it up according to a schematic. Now they gave us like I don't know if it was black and white or black and red wires, and hot and neutral. Everybody did it the same way, and there was one guy that wired the whole thing in just red wires. And then like the teacher goes over to him, and we're all like, confused, and he's like, "See, like it doesn't matter what color you use as long as you know where these things are going." He's like, that's perfect. So that
That's
always stuck
right.
in my head.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's why, like, I went through like the numbers on here at first, like number one goes to whatever. And then, I thought, well, for the beginners, it'll probably help to have G and Y and all that in a color coding, because it's a no brainer. They can just hook up to the, match the colors and start these systems just, without knowing much. 1 second. I got to get a charger real quick. Hey, Seth. Let me have, I need a charger quick, please. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Jennifer's asking if there's videos or materials for training on the Jumper King.
I actually wrote out the directions myself, and the directions are really straightforward, but to answer her question, there isn't. That's why I'm trying to encourage everybody and to share their Jumper King videos, so that can show people how to use it. I've done some in the past on my other account before I got hacked, of how to use it and stuff like that. But if she reaches out to me and has any questions, or anyone, I'd be happy
Yeah.
to go over that with them and let them know how to use it and how to utilize the tool. in the best way. In extension cord.
Yeah, Jennifer, he's on Instagram because I know she just started her Instagram. He is Jumper King Official. You need to go follow him. He shares everybody's, post. He has the videos up on how to use it. I have a couple of videos up on my YouTube too. And that's when I opened it, I'm like, there's not really any instructions in here, but it's pretty straightforward. It's just basically to jump everything out. But I think people just get a little confused because they think that it takes batteries or something like that, but it's just powered, or they're just switches. So it's just you're energizing it through one end and then you're flipping on switches to get it to the other side. So it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, it does come with directions in there. I mean, no one reads it, so RTFM, right? And I'm probably wearing Ben's shirt here, but
yeah.
No, so G all the way down through black, all those are in series, and then red is everything goes through the fuse, but everything is in series. So when you let me get the other one here. So when you turn on, let's say the black and the white, that completes the circuit between black and white, and that's also through the fuse. Hang on, let me get my phone plugged in here. Sorry about that. You still there?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. There we go. So you turn on red, and that energizes all these switches. So if you wanted to bypass, just say, a switch, all you would do is turn on black, turn on white, or whatever switch you want to use, and then turn on red, and that would send power to those two terminals and close that circuit. So yeah, green through black is all in series, and then red is not in series, but red goes through the fuse and then to the green and then all the way down to the black. I don't know if I'm explaining that properly, but
yeah,
basically
they're in series. So like you energize that first one basically, and then you switch on all that coming in, goes all to all the switches, and you just turn on as needed.
Yep, as needed. So say you wanted to jump single stage cooling and a reversing valve. So you energize your put your red to the 24 volts, energize your fan, energize your cooling. Say you have blue hooked up to your reversing valve, so either energize that or de-energize it, depending on the brand, whether it's energized and cooling or not. And then say you wanted to bypass the pressure switch at the same time, you would hook up the pressure switch to white and black and then turn those switches on. Now it complete the circuit through that pressure switch. And so you could then, to turn it off, you can turn everything off individually, or you can cut power to everything by the master red switch, and that cuts power to everything all at the same time.
Well, yeah, that's a good explanation. And it's just one of those things, right? It's like it's simple thing, but it's well thought out into that product that you have that you have there. That I'm still getting comments that like they can't even find it. So JD says he's been trying to get one. It's sold out everywhere. The what I would say is I buy a lot of stuff on True Tech Tools. They allow you to buy it, and then you're basically on the wait list. It'll ship out as soon as they get them. Like you'll be in line, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's how I do it when I can't get something. I go on, and that's how I got the Jumper King actually, because I waited way too long after the initial release. I was like, I'm gonna get one. And then finally, I wanted one, and I was like, oh, I think it says like 2 to 3 weeks out or something. So I just placed the order, and then like I think it only took like a week and a half or so, and then it got shipped out. So JD, if you want, try True Tech Tools. You can at least purchase it in advance, and then they'll ship it out to you.
Yeah, and it's tough for me because I can't really name one company that over another, because all these companies are investing a lot of money in carrying the Jumper King. So I can't, like, if I say one company and then don't mention the other company, I get into kind of a weird situation. But there is some avenues online that you can get them.
Yeah.
And they're on it too, because they know that they're selling good, and they want to carry them. They want to, products that sell. A lot of the supply houses carry them, all different names. So I can't really name one. It's kind of puts me in a tough situation, but they're getting in more supply houses as we speak. It just it takes about a year roughly to get, you know, in the market, where, in all the supply houses. They got to create part numbers. They got to, there's a lot involved with carrying a tool. They got to do their research, make sure that it's selling properly. How many do they order? How many stores do they have? What kind of computer system do they have, as far as, putting a part number to it? So there's a lot that goes into it. And most products that get on the market, like, I don't know if you were at AHR, but I was watching virtually, and Jim Adcock said that it basically broke a record, that the first initial stock sold out in 9 days, and
Yeah.
that's never happened before. So Subco's dealing with something that they haven't really experienced before, which is, I mean, mind-boggling to me. Being that I created this, I'm like,
Yeah.
holy cow. But I want to tell everybody, I'm very humble. I'm a hardworking blue collar person, just like anyone else. So it's just an amazing thing. But um, they're trying their best to keep up with the demand, and I just want to say thanks for everyone's patience on, and wanting one, but thanks for everyone's patience on why they get them back in stock.
Well, that's good to hear. And they're going to be in high demand for a while, it seems like. So
Yeah.
uh
That's,
JD JD was also asking if he gets his hands on one, if do you care if I make some illustrations? So JD, I've seen him on TikTok, and I'm not sure if it's Instagram. I saw him somewhere else, but he does these little training illustrations. So he shows like how refrigeration cycles work and stuff like that, and he draws them out himself. Like I think it's hand drawn or computer drawn or something like that, and they're really cool illustrations. So I guess he's wanting to know if he can include your Jumper King in one of those like trainings. I think Jennifer, because she's also she teaches, and she uses JD's illustrations like for her lesson plans. So they're doing things out there too. But uh, is it okay if he uses your Jumper King in his illustrations?
I'd be honored if he did. You know, yeah, of course. I mean, these people that are out there trying to educate people. I mean, I've seen the Jumper King in training classes and stuff like that. I think that's a super great thing. So absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome. JD does awesome stuff. So I'm looking forward to when he gets to that too.
Yeah, I just my page that I have is basically it's for everybody out there. It's for all of you guys to share your experience with the Jumper King, share your videos so I can get them out on my page. I wanted a page that everyone can come to and look at all the posts and see what it does, see how to use it, see how other people are using it. So whatever anyone does out there, just please tag me so I can repost it and share it with the HVAC industry out there, because that's who really needs to see it, is the people out there that don't really know what it is, or how
Yeah,
to use
because
it.
like what I use my Instagram, even my I have a TikTok now that's doing pretty well. Like I use it. I've shown yours. I've shown like the cool presser. I've shown a lot of different things that are kind of unique and very helpful. And there's a lot of people out there that are like, I've never seen this before. Where did you get this or this and that? So
Yeah,
that's cool.
TikTok is a different animal, man. There's a lot of crap talkers on there. I'll tell you what.
Hey
Uh,
man, we got to deal with it. But I try to keep it positive. I don't even look at the negative comments, or if I have to, I'll respond. But I just try to showcase, some of the unique tools. So like I really loved yours. Like I said, the cool presser. There's some other stuff that I've showcased, and a lot of people don't even know about these products. And I'm like, well, it's up to the community kind of to kind of help out each other, show your tips and tricks or what kind of tools you're using, and that's how that's how the word gets out. So
Exactly. And you know what? I mean, as far as I'm not even interested in, like, I thought about, getting ambassadors and having, paying people to do videos and stuff, but I think that would be a disservice to the HVAC community. I think people should, even though I want to, I like to pay everyone that supports me. Like, I appreciate it so much, but I think it's important for people to share it out of their passion for using it, or how them liking it just because they like it, they want to share it. I think that's more genuine than paying someone like, hey, can you do this killer video for me? Now editing a cool video and stuff like that, whatever. But I just think it's more genuine when people just post it because they like it, and it's helping them out there in the field. So
yeah, because let me tell you, like I get stuff sent out to me, and I work with companies, and for the most part I try to do it as like an honest review. But there's some bigger companies out there that are very controlling, and then like the videos are not going to come out well, like the content, if they're just trying to be like here, buy this or whatever, just because the company says so. So like
yeah,
with yours, it's all genuine feedback. So I mean, the good with the bad, but it's genuine feedback, and so far everybody's loving it, so that's a good thing.
yeah, and that's why I liked your first YouTube video that you did on it. You mentioned some things that you were concerned about, but you did an honest review, and that's what I want. I don't want no one to sugarcoat this stuff. I need to know what's going on out there in the field. What improvements do we need to make? What you like about it? What kind of things that you found out that it's useful on? All the above is important. And so, yeah, organic, raw videos, because people want to do it, is, I think, the best thing. And you know what a lot of people don't realize is, I think the majority of the HVAC community isn't even on social media, to be honest with you. I
Nope.
mean, I know there's a lot of people on social media, but there's a lot of people that aren't, and they don't know about this. So if they take it, to their company and they show their coworker that's not on Instagram, you know, um, that's helping out too, because they're helping out their coworker. Like, hey, check this out, or whatever.
And
What, what, what,
that's the cool thing, because I had shown off this it's called a lockjaw ladder grip. I don't know if you've seen it. It helps you hook your ladder up to like gutters and stuff, which has been a lifesaver for me because I work on a lot of strip malls. So
yeah,
I started showing it. I didn't make I don't think I made any video on it, but I would show it in my videos like, hey, I love this thing.
yep,
And I actually had a guy thank me for that, or the owner reached out, and super nice guy. We gave one away, and he appreciates every time I post about it. But there was a guy that was following me. He's like, dude, thank you so much for that, for mentioning that tool that you use, because I showed it to my boss, and we needed it, and he bought it for the whole company. Like, he bought one for each tech, so that they're getting on the roofs safer and stuff like that. So
see, that's
like
cool.
like
That's
us
cool.
doing it online, somebody sees it, somebody takes it to their company, it goes from there.
That's right. I think that's super cool. I mean, this HVAC community is amazing. Even the hater guys, you get them in a room, have a beer, have a steak. They're good people.
Yeah.
It's just that some people like to get out there and stir it up a little bit more than others. But the HVAC community, in a whole scheme of things, is a very unique community, and I'm proud to be part of that community. I'll always, no matter what I end up doing, if I become a full-time inventor or whatever, I'm always an HVAC technician. Always.
Oh, that's awesome. I was trying to read through Ryan's comments. Ryan is just curious as to how many glass blocks are behind you.
I haven't counted them yet, but there's a few there.
He's been in here trying to count them. He keeps throwing out numbers. Okay, so
Now you got me curious. I'm gonna have to count them for. Tell them to tag me or to send me a DM. I'll let them know how many glass blocks we got here. That's so the neighbors don't see me walking around naked with a Jumper King around my neck.
All right, man. So we're coming up at an hour and a half. I don't want to keep you too long.
Yeah.
So you guys can find Robert, like I said, on Instagram, Jumper King Official. I'll have your tag in the description. That way they can just click on it and go to your Instagram. Is there anything else you want to go over or parting words today?
I just want to say the words can't describe how thankful I am of everyone's support out there, doing all these videos, and I'm just happy to have made a difference in the HVAC industry. It's an unbelievable feat that I've worked many years on, and I'm just thankful for all the support.
And I forgot to ask you before the show, but remember that giveaway we were talking about?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna do a giveaway of the Jumper King. I'm gonna do this on Instagram, so that way I can tag you
Mm-hmm.
and do all that. But I just want to let everybody in the chat know, if you guys want one, be on the lookout for that post tomorrow. I'll try and post it tomorrow. Robert will send out a Jumper King to one lucky winner. I'm assuming like US only, right? I always have to ask, whenever I do the giveaways.
We can do Canada too. There's a lot of supporters in Canada. We can, if it's a few bucks more, who cares? The only thing I'm concerned about is it's funny because I have two Jumper Kings now. I have one, like I can't even get them. So I could either, when they come back in stock, or I can look around or do some research and try to find one. But I don't have one to give away at this moment, because I forgot that we're going to do this. So just to be honest, but I have one that my personal one that I barely use that I can give out if they want that right away, or they can wait just a little bit so I can do some research and find one. But I will get them one for free and ship it to wherever, if they're in Canada or the US. So
yeah, well, don't worry about it. I figured, there'd be a back order. It's still, hard to get. So
mhm.
it'll be I'll post it tomorrow. We'll see how it goes, and we'll get someone a Jumper King, soon.
But I do know people, so I might be able to to ask someone deep in the realms of the HVAC or the Jumper King archives if I can find one. But I'll do my best for sure.
No problem, Robert. I
Yeah.
appreciate you wanting to do that. So
Yeah,
guys,
absolutely.
look out tomorrow. Make sure you're following myself and Jumper King Official over on Instagram, and we'll have that post for you. All right,
Yeah,
man. I appreciate you coming on. I was really excited to have you on, so thank you for doing this.
my pleasure, and I thank you for having me on. Had a great time.
All right, I'm gonna end the show. There's like a minute outro. You can stay till after that, or you can head out if you need to. Everybody in the chat, see ya. Let me cue the outro.